It's finally happening as a major report from Elliotte Friedman gives Canucks fans something to be excited about, as it's all or nothing for that final wildcard spot in the playoffs. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, so first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all Canucks updates as we get into that final push for the playoffs in the regular season. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is it's finally happening. What I'm referring to, Thatcher Demko, from a tweet yesterday from Elliotte Friedman saying, "We will see what tomorrow brings, but hearing Thatcher Demko is a possibility to start tomorrow for Vancouver in New Jersey." Coach Rick Tocchet said Kevin Lankinen wasn't feeling well versus New York Saturday in this case. Demko has not played since February 8th, but practiced yesterday. The Canucks need a boost, and Demko wishes to provide it. And then on the 32 Thoughts podcast today with co-host Kyle Bukauskas, he doubled down saying the plan is for him to play. You just hope there's nothing that's going to prevent that from happening. For all intents and purposes, they need him, and he knows it, and he's going to try to play. And that is absolutely right. We absolutely need Thatcher Demko through these final games. Kevin Lankinen, he was probably a little tired, probably a little overworked, and definitely wasn't feeling well, as per Tocchet saying, because that many goals on 12 shots on net, come on now. If you have Thatcher Demko in between the pipes in that game, only on 12 shots, we probably get away in that game, winning the game, and only allowing 1 to 2 goals max, probably, unless they got a lucky bounce here and there. So, having Thatcher Demko for these games, going into New Jersey tonight, then you got the Islanders, then you got Columbus, then you got Winnipeg, and then we have a few home games as we close out the regular season. But this is going to be crucial down the stretch. Kevin Lankinen has been fantastic this season. He's been worth every penny that we got him for and that we extended him for. Now it's time for Thatcher Demko to get back to 100% for when we need him most, which is these final games as we try to stay alive for that final playoff spot. And then Elliotte Friedman did go on further where he was talking about the difference between an athlete being injured or hurt. He's not saying anything about Thatcher Demko in that respect. He knows he's truly been injured, but he said, "I understand the way elite athletes think, and Demko knows he crossed into a threshold where he thinks he can really help them. Whatever the doctors are saying, the trainers, whatever percent he's at, you're getting to this point where you say, yeah, I can play, and they need help." So even if Thatcher Demko, I know we were saying all year, don't bring him back unless he's at 100% because of the nature of his injury. However, in this case for the Canucks, it is do or die. Last season in the playoffs, it was at a point where he absolutely couldn't play, but if he's at a point right now, he's practicing. He knows the team needs him. He knows the impact that he has. He had an interview with Ian McIntyre the other day. It was a great interview, but the biggest thing he had in that saying, you're a part of the team, you have a roster spot, and you get paid to play in big games. And Thatcher Demko knows this. He knows what he brings to the table for this Vancouver Canucks team, and he is absolutely a critical part of it. This part of it why this has been such a frustrating season for Canucks fans. I know it's been very inconsistent. It's been terrible hockey at times. It's been great hockey at times. It's been solid hockey at times. It's been miserable hockey at times. However, one of the major factors of that, with all the drama that we've had going on, injuries have been a major result. Dakota Joshua hasn't really been at 100% all season. Thatcher Demko hasn't. Elias Pettersson had some injuries. Quinn Hughes had some injuries. Brock Boeser had a little bit of banged up coming into this season as well. Then you had Kevin Lankinen going through all the overwork that he was going through, and still some injuries as a result of that too, where Shelov's had to step in for a game or two. There was just a lot of things that went wrong in the health department for Vancouver this season, and that was a lot of reason why we have been so inconsistent. But as far as Thatcher Demko's impact is concerned, the main reason why Vancouver needs him most is when you look at their record last season with and without him versus this season with or without him. Last season, 35-14-2 with him, 15-9-7 without. Then this season, 8-6-3 with him. I know he hasn't been at 100% as well, but 24-20-9 without him, just barely staying above 500. If you're counting overtime losses, they're under 500. So not what you want to see, and Thatcher Demko absolutely gives the Vancouver Canucks the best chance to win, and what they need right now is that, especially when you're going to be going up against these good goalies. We got Connor Hellebuyck coming up in a few games. We have some other really good goalies that we're going to be going up against, so we're going to have to bring our A game. Thankfully, we don't have to play Binnington again. However, I really wish that we did play the St. Louis Blues again, or some of those other playoff teams that we're fighting with, just so that we can steal a few more points. However, the window for that has unfortunately closed for Vancouver. It's going to be a tough ride to the playoffs. We got some really tough games coming up. Winnipeg, obviously, we spanked them last week. However, going into their barn, it might be a little bit of a different story. It's going to be a lot tougher. Vegas, we got them twice to close out the year. We got San Jose, so that hopefully should be an easy W there, and hopefully the season isn't completely lost by that point. Then you got Minnesota, who they're still sitting pretty comfortably in their playoff spot. So maybe they're going to rest some starters. Who knows if their playoff seeding is set by that point. Then you got Dallas and Colorado. Those are going to be absolute gauntlets as well. Those are really tough teams to go up against and teams that we have very much struggled against this season. Seattle and Anaheim, hopefully we can steal some games there. But Vegas, Dallas, Colorado, those are the ones that I'm really looking at where I'm very concerned. And if we have Thatcher Demko back, you start him in those games, absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, if he's really good to go and he looks great tonight in New Jersey, you start him the rest of the way. He's sat enough. If he's good to go and he proves that and there's no banged up or bruises after this game, you ride with him the rest of the season because you absolutely need him. And in a season where you haven't had him very much, you got to kind of use him at this point because you need to win every single game. Every game is a playoff game at this point. Every game is a game 7 at this point where, hey, it's win or go home. You got to make sure you're going out there every night. Right now, our playoff chances are in this around 17%. So it's not looking great as far as our outlook, especially when St. Louis is taking advantage of an easy schedule. Calgary is somehow winning games with all the injuries they got. Utah is still not going down without a fight. So all these teams are still winning when the Canucks are losing. A lot of these heartbreaking games that we're losing, if the other teams are losing, maybe it's easy to live with. However, they're not. They're taking advantage at every single point when Vancouver has been struggling, and that is going to make it so difficult down the stretch, especially because we don't play any of these teams, and a lot of them have easy schedules, whereas we got a pretty hard schedule down the stretch. It's not going to be pretty. Vegas twice, that's not going to be fun. Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota, unless they're locked into their playoff seeding and they don't have any reason to start a bunch of their major key players, that'll be very tough to do. Unless we can play spoiler, we can kind of put a damper on their plans a little bit. However, this is going to be a very tough ride for the Canucks. But what do you guys have to think about all of this going on right now? Do you think we're going to see the old Thatcher Demko that we lost at the end of the playoffs last year and heading into this year? How we haven't seen him hit that full form yet. Do you think this is where we see him just click it on and just come back 100% and ready to go? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments, and what do you guys think is going to be their record heading through these final games of the regular season. I know there's some games that there absolutely should be gimmies. However, this is the Vancouver Canucks, and with where we're at in the playoff standings right now, how easy or how likely do you guys think it'll be to catch up to some of these teams when looking at the schedules that they have compared to us? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below, because this is going to be a very wild ride to the finish. I know it's been very frustrating. We've been there with you guys every step of the way. That Rangers game really left a sour taste in my mouth, and hopefully a lot of other Canucks fans, because that was a very big game, and JT Miller getting the dagger in that game was absolutely salt in the wound. If that's the thing that ends our season, it's absolutely poetic justice or poetic irony, if anything. However, we're still not out. We still got a chance. It's got Lloyd Christmas there going, so you're saying there's a chance as we try and get through these final games. It's going to be a wild ride. Hopefully Thatcher Demko is fully ready to go. Elias Pettersson, hopefully he's not out for too long. Niels Höglander as well. So hopefully those guys are able to they're probably going to miss this game, as it would seem from what it seemed like from Tocchet's post-game comments. However, we still got a ways to go heading into this game. But what do you guys have to say about this game tonight? I know it's not going to be the Hughes extravaganza that we were hoping to get. However, it's still going to be Jack versus Luke and seeing what comes out of that. But let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below. It's going to be a fun night tonight. Hopefully, we're able to drop a W post-game reaction video instead of coming on here talking about another loss. Especially if we're able to get an overtime win, that would be great to get the 2 points against an Eastern Conference team where it doesn't have any implications on our playoff race. So that's hopefully what we're heading into. As stressful as that'll be, get every point you can. If we have to push every game to overtime at this point, hey, whatever it takes to get to the playoffs, I'm willing to do, or I'm willing to suffer through as a fan of this team. Whatever anxiety that brings, I'm ready for it as long as it gets us in the playoffs. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss the new updates when they drop. But with that, I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.